I made it. So I tried to start this live 3 times. This is the third time. And it kept being in the wrong orientation. And so anyway, we're starting over. And I think we're figuring it out. Welcome to my live today. It's been a long time since I've done a YouTube live. Let's just scooch you on down there. And for today, I am wanting to kind of chat about what is it like to use watercolor and other creative things just to boost your mental health. If you see this snake here, this is something my son did. He wrapped it around one of my phone holders. So anyway, but yeah, kind of using that for mental health and trying to figure out, painting. How does painting help you? That's what I do, but there's so many ways to do that creative activity. We've got some lilacs here as well that we'll probably be painting. And I've just been going through, like, this was just for fun. I paint on the back, paintings that I didn't love. I like to recycle. This is, if you're wondering about art supplies, this is a Canson book. It's a really nice ring bound, hi guys, welcome. Little sketchbook that you can use for just keeping everything together. Paint on the back as well, you can do that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. So then this week, here are some things that I went through using a filbert brush and did some hydrangea. This is wisteria. And then I've got some flowers, hey guys, from my friend's garden, and was doing a painting class with them. So I was kind of trying to figure out how to paint some of the dahlias, paint some of the zinnias, cosmos, cornflowers, and just having fun. And this will be a post sometime soon, somewhere, maybe a video, some sweet peas, just enjoying that. Yesterday, again, back, this is a Patreon video. If you're interested, it is, it's linked, it will be linked below, because this is live, so I don't have everything ready. But my cats are being really loud. Back of the page, yesterday, just kind of played with some flowers. And then this is a Patreon exclusive video that I just put up today for members, $3 and up. So we are gonna get into some painting. Don't worry, I will flip the camera around. I don't have a fancy StreamYard with 2 screens where I can just flip it easily. I'm just gonna literally unprofessionally click it, put it up here to be able to show my desk, and we'll start painting. You guys ready? Let me know. I won't be able to see comments because it's gonna be up above me, but one day I will have StreamYard. I will be fancy like everyone else, and let's get to it. Flipping around and just angling my camera over here so that you guys can see the whole screen and all the things that we've got going on. So I want to tell you guys about, I've got this collaboration with Windsor and Newton, and so I'm supposed to let you guys know that these are products that they gave me that I'm utilizing, and they're linked, the link is below for my affiliate link. I do get a small commission when you buy products, but it does not cost you any more, so to purchase those products. So I've got their 100% cotton paper. I've got several different brushes. So we've got number 12, number 8, and number 2. And then their paints as well. I'm gonna spray that down. Get them all juicy. And then I always have a paper towel so that I can dab my brushes. And I've got my 2 water jars. So cool colors and warm, I actually like to do it this way. And sometimes I double dip and just don't even follow the pattern. But like I showed you just recently, this one here, this is one that we're gonna do today. And we're just gonna start adding in some layers. If we did it the correct way, that would make more sense. So that first basic layer, really light wash, I've got a heat gun here just to dry things quickly. And as we chat about mental health and how we can boost it and feel happier, feel like we're taking care of ourselves, we might get to some lilacs as well. So anyway, it's been a crazy week. How's your week been? I'm just gonna finish setting up here. Yep, I can't even tell how many of you guys are here because of the phone holder, but I know someone is out there. So I will definitely have this as a replay, and yeah, I'm gonna get StreamYard someday so I can see your comments and I can comment live. It's gonna be great. But for now, we do what we've got. So I'm using the number 12 round brush. It's quite a large brush. It holds a lot of water, and we're gonna do a little scooching here. so that I can actually have this on this side. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you guys can see a little bit of that. That is super, super crooked. So there we go. All right. Okay. So what we're going to start with is our large bloom right here, this yellow flower. So I'm just going to go for it. I like to wet my brush, of course. And then, you know, my palette has all the colors everywhere. So just gonna grab some of this paint. Things kind of squish together, and that's okay. If that bothers you, you can get a palette that has all these sections where different colors don't flow together. I'm embracing the mess. I think it's beautiful, and it is messy, so you know, there's that. So what I want to do is I'm going to just hold this brush like this and start swooping, creating 2 or 3 brush strokes per petal. It's a very, very loose flower, as you can see. Nothing fancy about Nothing fancy. I mean, it does look fancy, I guess, but nothing fancy about these brush strokes. We're just kind of swooping them in. So this is a really intense, beautiful cadmium yellow. So I'm going to do 2, 3 brush strokes right there. I'm going to take my brush, dip in water, swipe, and then I'm going to do a few more over here. A few more brush strokes to create a petal. And I am leaving a little bit of white space in the middle for that center of the flower, dipping in for some more paint. And so I am doing this swooping motion, just like so. Swoopiness. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening. And then we're going to do this one. Can even add some pink in there just to change it up a little bit. Why not? And then we'll get some more of this dark color swooping in here. And that's kind of it. Looks like we've got 5 petals happening. So you can see I'm not drawing in like this circular or oval shape of the petal. I prefer having that really loose look where we're just kind of swooping and moving and making everything happen. So she's just going to hang out like that. Going to fill in a little bit of this space. So I don't need all of that for the center. So yeah, sometimes I put the centers first, sometimes I put them after. It's just, you know, just having a fun time with that. And, you know, kind of changing it up. It changes your style, all the things. So I'm going to do a pink flower right here. I've got some pinks. You can see I've been using pink a lot. So like the big question, we're going to do that same situation. And the question is the question of the day. You know, how does being creative boost your mental health if you're feeling anxious or you're feeling sad? Doing something creative gets your mind off of that space. And now if you are learning, you know, how to do something, then you're following the rules and you're using that logical, you know, left side of your brain to listen to me chat. That's what you're doing today, right? I'm chatting, I'm talking. Make this a little bit darker here. But once you know the rules, you can start to kind of do your own thing. And if you haven't heard of flow state, you're going to hear about it now because we're going there. So flow state is this idea that when you're using your right brain, you are totally engrossed in whatever you're doing because you know how to do it. You know the rules. We're going to do a smaller pink one over here. You know how to do stuff. If it's a recipe, you're intuitively putting ingredients together because you know what tastes good, what's good together. You've already known, you know how to make stuff. So it's not like you're sitting there following a recipe. And when you do that, we're gonna just pop in some color here. When you're able to intuitively create something that you know how to utilize, like the ingredients or the tools, you get lost in the moment. And that, my friends, is flow state. The creative part is from the right side of your brain, which, yeah, that's the creative part of our brain. And you stop thinking about your stressors. We're going to do a side facing right here, like this one. You stop thinking about your stressors. You stop thinking about the things that you ruminate on, and you're just in the moment of whatever it is that you're making. Now, that's flow state, guys. You forget about the time, you forget that you're cold or in pain or hungry, you have to go to the bathroom. It's an amazing experience and it releases dopamine, which increases your mood and makes you happy. It's a pleasure hormone and it reinforces you doing these wonderful things for yourself in the future. I'm going to put a large bloom here. We're just changing it up a little bit from what I have originally. And we're going to go for it. a large bloom, yes. Kind of like some of this alizarin crimson happening here. We'll use that. It's got some purple in there. We're just mixing it all together today. So, same type of thing, swoopy petals. There we go. So I encourage everyone to practice some type of creativity every day. So kind of think about that for yourself. What is it that you do? And it could be playing an instrument, it could be taking photos on your phone, editing photos and videos. It could be carving, wood carving. It could be singing, writing. But it's something that you're creating, whether with your voice, with your hands, most of the time with your hands. I'm just popping in some color here. So we've got some larger blooms going on. And now that we have those spaces starting to fill up, I want to put in some smaller pieces here. I really love this flower, and it's really light yellow. I won't be able to copy it. I don't really paint the same thing twice. Not that that's on purpose, it's just and then over here as well. And I would like to add something down here too. I think I'll do another purple. Just grabbing some of that paint. Not a big purple fan, but here I am using it because it's really light, so it doesn't, it doesn't hit me in the same way as like, I don't know, bright purple. I don't know what the deal is with purple. It just is what it is. I can't explain it. So we got some bluish purple, we got some red, and it's just really light going on in there. All right, so now that we have all of our basic floral shapes in, I think I'm gonna, balance out this part with more greenery. And I'm gonna take my number 8 round brush and we're gonna dip into some colors. So we've got some sap green here. We've got some green gold, and I've got some olive green coming in the mail soon. I'm really excited about that, but I don't have it today. And that's okay, we'll make do. So we want to start adding some of these, the greenery for these, let me dab my brush, for these side facing flowers. So I'm just going to do some little lines and a little stem in there. And same thing here. You're going to anchor the stem to the flower with that little green bit. Now these are getting a lot drier, so this is easier. But over here, they're still wet, so I'm just touching down lightly. I don't want it to spread all crazy. But again, adding wet paint to wet paint, it's going to spread. And that's just how it's gonna do. Alrighty, so using this brush, just grabbing some green paint. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna bring in just some leaves down here. So just pressing down, fanning my brush out, slowly curving it around. I like to leave a little white space too. Maybe a little bit of green gold now. And then putting that in. Oops, so we needed more water. That was running out. And then over here, we can even add in some of this greenish, bluish green color. Like that, just kind of changing up your greens, adding some of that blue in there too if you'd like. Another stem there. I'll add some more in a moment, but I'm just trying to start to fill in the space, and sometimes I do little blobby marks like this, for example, to start to get your mind to kind of fill in that space with lots in, like lots of leaves and stuff like that. Like it's a tight bouquet without being too worried about the actual shape. So for this one, we're gonna do a little bit of line. I'm gonna do some more of those kind of half circle shapes like that. Then changing up the color a little bit, you can change up your value a little bit of a stem, and then arcing over to the right, taking off some of that paint, and then adding a third lighter leaf right over here. Okay, so really when you're working out your composition, it's just, you know, little by little, adding things in, sitting up, stepping back, whatever it is you need to do. How is it looking? I'm just going to do some brush stroke shapes here, just pressing down. And, you know, kind of analyzing, do I need to add some more here? So you can use the belly of the brush to create kind of, you know, leaf shapes or your ferns, whatever you'd like to call them, to fill in your space. A little bit more of this blue, Prussian blue, adding that to my green. And it's just, you know, making a happy mix in the middle and just kind of going with whatever comes out of that mixture. All right, what else? Here and then here. And then what I like to do is just take the tip of the brush and just kind of connect those together. We'll do this over here too. It's really thin. So you do want a brush that has a really nice point. So this is a round number 8. And like I said, all these Winsor and Newton products are linked below, 15% off between now and in the next couple weeks. And like I said, I am a collaborator with them, so I do get a small commission, but no extra cost to you, which is great. It's a win-win. All right, so I'm looking at this. I'm saying, okay, what do I need to add in next? I think I'd like a larger leaf somewhere right here. So then I'm angling my brush because I want the tip to be at the bottom of the leaf, a little bit of a stem. And then I'm arcing out, creating these 2 half circles and filling it in, grabbing some other color. And now, again, that tip is going to be pointing where that stem is. And then I'm just putting those in. Again, little white space. Sometimes that bugs people up the wazoo, but it's a little bit of a highlight. So just let it go, just let it be. And then we're gonna do in some of these, like, just, you know, brief little brush strokes to fill in that space. So let's talk about how watercolor can be stressful. And if you guys have been following me at all, you know that I love to talk about letting go of perfectionism, all those things. It's so important to just be okay with yourself being in that learning period of time, of not knowing all the things, because every time you try this, you're getting better, your muscle memory is increasing, and you're learning and you're growing in your watercolor. And so if you don't like what you did and you're constantly telling yourself you don't like it, instead of telling yourself I'm learning and I'm gonna go through a lot of paintings I find to be ugly until I really love my style. But if you're telling yourself that negative piece, like it needs to be perfect, then you're gonna give up. I promise it's not going to be motivational. So remind yourself this is supposed to be fun, it's just practice. And with every brushstroke, I'm getting better. Guys, it makes a difference what you tell yourself. So, all right, kind of taking a step back, I think I'd like something right here. And you should have seen some of my paintings when I first started painting, and I still have days and, you know, times of like, wow, that was something that I painted. I'm so disappointed, and I have to remind myself, hey, maybe that was the first time I tried, you know, a certain thing. Didn't love it. That's okay. I got to keep trying. Giving up will not improve my skills, right? Absolutely not. So green gold, just a few little brush strokes there. And yeah, just kind of filling it in. So we've got a variety of some values and some different types of green. As those are drying and I'm kind of like thinking about what I want to do next, we're going to start adding in some more color on top. As you can see on this one, there's a lot of different, you know, brush strokes involved and second layers for shadows and textures. So this is pretty dry. I'm going to add in my center next. I'm going to grab some green. You can see I use a lot of green. And I'm going to just stipple here. Just these little tiny brush strokes. And we're going to do, what are we going to do? Just some little lines going out this way. and make your center fancy. All right, so that's the green center there. I do want to take my Payne's Gray, which leans more of a bluish color. I kind of think it's more like navy. And I'm going to, well, I'm going to do some stippling over here. Just little dots. Kind of extend it out over the pink area. And a little bit of that in the center here. It's going to spread, so you don't want to do a ton. So now we think, okay, how are we going to fancy up this composition? So we're going to take slightly darker, or maybe much darker colors than what we had before. So that's a lot more saturated than some of the paint I was using now. It's really important to keep it more saturated and dab your brush so you get that puddle off of there, so you're not puddling color. And I like to rest my hand on my painting, but it's kind of going to mess up the vibe unless I can put it somewhere that's dry. But you just got to be careful of that. Or you can dry it first. So I'm gonna, ooh, that is so dark, which is fine, but I wasn't expecting that. I'm just gonna kind of make some like easygoing brush strokes on the tops, on the bottoms. Just, you know, pretty simple. You don't want to do too much to it. I mean, I don't anyway. That's my plan. Now, originally I had this kind of side-facing peony and this rose. I am just in a like sort of a love-hate relationship with roses, watercolor roses, and I just haven't found a style that I love. And whenever I paint roses, I kind of get like uber frustrated with them. So anyway, that's okay. I've got this medium kind of peachy pinkish color. I'm gonna put on this color here, just a little bit. See, I'm holding the brush really loosely. That's really important so that I've got like a lot of movement happening. I don't have as much control, which I know feels scary, but it loosens up your painting. And that's what we're trying to do today. So we were going to put in a little bit more of this. I've got some thicker lines as well as some thinner ones. And then we can go in later when it's drier and put in some darker marks too, if you want. You really don't have to. We're just trying to make this flower fancy and pretty. And like she's going to a party. All right. Now let's go with this one. I've got purple here on my palette. Like I said, don't love the purple. Can mix some blue in there. But just more saturated than what we have. Want a little bit more water in there. And then just same type of thing, kind of going around, adding some swoopy marks. Some swoopy marks. A little bit on the tops of the petals too. And if you do make some marks that you don't love, you can simply take your water, clean your brush, dab it, and then just, you know, just blend it. Just blend it in. And doing these marks upside down can be a little bit challenging. So that one, what's happening with this one? I don't know. It's doing what it's doing. We're just gonna leave it alone, walk away for now. You can always add more if we need to. So again, like that upside down part can be challenging. Here's a little tip, just flip it around. So for me, somehow adding in the details on a flower that's facing down is just, it challenges my brain. So I'm flipping it. And we're gonna do kind of some pinky stuff happening here. I like it lighter. That's what I'm feeling today. So again, lightly, that's not that light. That's not that light, but that's okay. See how I'm just like swooping it around. You don't want to do straight lines because you want to emulate the curvature of the petals. That's why we're swooping. And just, you know, a little bit of extra, just kind of leave it. Don't want to do too much because then sometimes you don't know when to stop. And then over here, a little bit over here too. I'm really holding this loosely. This is not something I'm consciously doing. It's just sort of the hold that feels the right thing to do today. Okay, so no harm done in flipping your paper. Don't be worried. No one's judging that. If they are, I mean, they shouldn't be. If they are, well, that's just crazy. All right, we need a little middle here. Kind of forgot about this one because I added her in kind of last minute. So little stipples, I leave a lot of white space because that's what I like to do. All right, so there's that. Okay, we've got a few details to add to these here. So, you know, the details are not super intense. They're just kind of, you know, giving some highlights. This is Rose Doré, if I'm saying that correctly. And sometimes I put too much water on my palette and then everything just starts to ooze all over. And yeah, so I'm learning that. It's a new palette and it's kind of, it's a fun learning curve. So just be careful not to touch the center if you don't want it to spread and create a puddle of all the colors, especially the dark. But if you touch the center, it's like, well, you're going to be fine, you know? It's going to be fine. So we didn't talk about mindfulness. We talked about flow state and what that is. I'll curve this around here. So, you know, if flow state is just like being unaware, you're kind of in the zone. Mindfulness is being very aware, intentionally aware of your surroundings. And so how this boosts your mood is, and you can be mindful when you're painting as well. You don't have to be right brain flow state, but it's where you're not like off in some other la la land world thinking about your to-do list or your stressors or thinking about teaching a tutorial like I am right here. You are thinking about your five senses, what you can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. And like not even having thoughts about it, just like, oh, okay, there's a bird flying by. Or, well, if we're doing painting, like, oh, this, I love these colors that are melding together, you know, or just watching the colors. You're not even having to say things about it, but it's just like being aware of that. Like you're looking at all the colors you can see and the textures. I've got some middle here trying to get away. So we're just going to lift the paint the best we can with a clean damp brush. And that's all right. So yeah, you know, the sounds of the paintbrush, right? You're noticing that. You're noticing the colors and the shapes, the textures, what you can hear, what you can feel, the smoothness of the smoothness of the paintbrush. And instead of like being lost in your thoughts, and being mindful helps to, we're gonna darken up some of our leaves. Being mindful helps you to appreciate the moment. It helps to train your brain to be present in important things like conversations with your kids or your loved ones, where you're not just, you know, thinking about, oh, I should be doing something else. Oh, I hate being here. Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow and the thing we're gonna do. But you're just enjoying the moment that you're in, assuming it can be a pleasant moment. Now, if you're in a moment of stress, sometimes you need to excuse yourself if you can and go take a few breaths. That's also something that's mindful, just kind of breathing in and relaxing because you need to breathe because your body won't survive without oxygen, all the things. Anyway, a little splatter here. So mindfulness is really a fun thing to do, or also flow state where, you know, you're being creative, like we said before, you know the rules and you can just kind of go off on your own and create, or maybe like you play the piano. And that's it for that one. Actually, no, I say that, but then I want to put a little bit more dark here. I'm just going to grab some dark transparent orange. Playing the piano. So I took piano lessons for I think 7 years, never learned to read notes. My piano teacher hated it. She would yell at me. My grandpa would yell at me when I practiced. It's just like, not in the way that was like, oh man, that was just so tragic, but just like he would get frustrated because I wasn't reading notes. I played by ear. And that's the skill that I have, and I could pick it up quickly, but I was supposed to read notes, right? That's why I was getting lessons. But if I sit down at the piano even today and I start to just play something I know from memory, it takes me to some other space. Like it's just such a beautiful place where I'm not thinking about, like there's so much dopamine being released, this making me so happy. I'm not thinking about my stressors. I'm not thinking much about anything, but just enjoying being in that moment. And so, but not being aware, you know, of like all the things, just playing the piano and just enjoying playing the piano. So think about your flow state, think about what you can do to be mindful, and how that relates to art. All right, guys, this is the end of this painting. You can see some differences there. We went lighter here, a lot darker here. And yeah, I think that was fun. I think that was fun. Did you have fun watching? Maybe you painted with me. So we're going to just remove this. Again, all art supplies linked below. Part of my collaboration with Windsor and Newton, and the 15% off discount is available to you for limited time. All right. I think all of their products except their number 7 series brushes, which are more expensive, and those are not part of the deal. All right, so we are still painting, you guys. I want to do something like this, some lilacs, something simple. And for that, I mean, this is just really like, it's so loose, such a loose lilac. I actually have some lilacs right here in this book, just kind of for inspiration. I had that up before I decided I was gonna paint today, painting this. So this is something I painted for, well, a while ago. It was a reel, and then part of my Skillshare classes as well that you could find over there with my link, and everything will be linked below. It's probably not all linked there right now, but I'll get to it. So we're gonna start with the blooms as I usually do. This is a bit of a larger piece of paper than the one I showed you, a bit larger, not a ton. And we are going to, we're just gonna grab some purples. Again, I said I don't like purple, but I like that. The combination, we've got some blue purple, some reddish purple, some purple in between. Yeah, I keep dipping in here. We have so much water happening, I don't really need to do more. And I got some turquoise in there. So yeah, just mixing together, seeing what happens, taking the cat hair out of there. This is great, guys, like just so random today. Alrighty, so I'm gonna do a big clump of flowers right here to start off. And I like to just, yeah, really light paint. That's pretty not light. And actually, I'm gonna switch my brush. I'm gonna switch to Christy Rice's number 6 Filbert, because then we can get some beautiful rounded shapes. Oh yeah, and you can kind of like twist and turn. When I make lilacs, I usually just use a round brush, not a filbert. Let's grab some pinky stuff. But yeah, this works great. Twisting and turning, so you're just getting a lot of different angles here. And leaving a lot of white space is definitely on the docket today. So guys, and there's some turquoise in there. Guys, you don't be afraid to just dip into your palette and see what happens. I wanted to announce that I will be collaborating with Craft Remote and creating my own brush line. And actually, I already sent them the details of what I want it to be. So I'm really excited. I don't know when they'll be ready, but they're going to be making my samples soon. So fun. So thank you so much, because so many of you signed up with interest, and we needed a certain amount by next Wednesday, and we already got there, within a few days of it. So this is great. Anyway, more information to come on that. If that's something that you'll be interested in, you can sign up for notifications once we have that ability to do that, once that's available. All right, so I'm just gonna, putting in some wet brush strokes here. Looks all crazy at this point. And I just want to block out the colors. So the sun just came out and it's so in my face. Oh my goodness, it's hot. I'm like tempted to just go and shut the shade. I might. In the middle of the video. It's okay. This is imperfect. I am imperfect. I tell you to strive to not be perfect, so it's less stressful that way, right? Your expectation is lower, hopefully. Your expectations of others are lower as well. Not that you're like, I want you to be failing or myself to be failing. It's not like we're shooting for terrible, but we don't want to stress ourselves out wanting to be perfect, because it just doesn't exist. We're gonna make mistakes. We're human, but we kind of don't let ourselves be. It's terrible. Anyway, so we all need to work on that, just to chill out a little bit more. And if the stories in our head are telling us, you know, certain thing, you gotta counter it with a, what is really true? Is it really true that I need to be perfect all the time? Is it true that anyone is perfect all the time, even like the people that expect us to be? Are they perfect? Most likely, actually, no. I know that for a fact. There's no one that is perfect. So, like, let's stop just, you know, let's stop perpetuating that lie that we have to do that. Be easy on yourself. So within your art, you can start to practice that too. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, what is this? This is looking interesting. Looking interesting, but it is that first layer. This happens to me often where I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? I'm going to start connecting everything here with some stems, and I've got that because it has a nice point on the round brush. I can just do a nice thin mark pretty easily. So I'm just bringing this down here. Woof, that's a funky little guy. All right, and then just arcing this around, and then this one too. Just kind of bending, crisscrossing on each other. This one can go over here. This one can go over here. And obviously lots of things that we can add in. So now that we have that mapped out, we can start to add in, you know, some more details, some more blooms, because we're not going to leave it this bare. I just wanted to start off. And I do like to block things in with just the flowers versus adding stems first, because I feel like once you add the stems, you don't have as much creative leeway for adding in where you want the blooms to go. So I just like to put the blooms first, and I feel it ends up creating a looser painting that I don't know, I like it better. But some people might find it very stressful to start with the blooms. So you start with what you need to do. It's totally acceptable. All right, grabbing some more. And you know, at this point, we're just, you know, blocking in things, not putting in some extreme shapes or anything right now, or extreme colors either. So you see how I'm twisting and turning the brush constantly. What else am I gonna do? Oh, I wish I could see your comments. I will get to StreamYard sometime this year. It's gonna happen. And then I'll be able to, you know, kind of interact with you guys more. That'll be so nice. While we're live, it's great. But anyway, what can you do? Nothing right now. Alrighty. What else should we chat about today? What else do I need to tell you about? I don't know, I decided to do this live instead of doing a YouTube video today. I just felt like it seemed like the right thing to do. I actually did film a video that was similar to this, and then the volume, the sound didn't work. It didn't get recorded with my microphone, and I was just like, okay, I have to do a voiceover. And then in the end, I just decided, let's just save that for another time. So we're live today. So yay. I am about ready to shut that shade. Take a pause here because that sun is baking my face. Alrighty, so you know, you're looking at your painting, you're analyzing, where are we going with this? What are we gonna add in? What are we gonna do here? And I think it's time to start adding some more stems, but guys, I have to shut my shade. So I'm gonna keep chatting with you as I'm standing on my desk and being super unprofessional, but I don't care because it is too intensely hot. All right, that's it. And I didn't fall, so it was a win-win. Alrighty, 100% better. Getting my number 8 around. Let's see. So it's not too late to sign up on the Craftimo brush list, just showing interest in the brushes. Like I said, it helps us to know kind of how many sets to produce. So it's going to be, it's a collaboration with Craftimo and myself. I get to choose everything. The colors, the ferrule colors, the handle's gonna be glossy or matte. What are the handles going to be the same color, different colors, the brush sizes, the length of the hairs, the shapes, what else? The color of the hairs, even the artwork on the box that'll be in a gift box. So it's really fun. Great gift for someone, but also for yourself. And I'm trying to make sure that it's a set that's going to be really helpful for obviously painting florals, but you can also paint anything else with it. But just those shapes that I love to use, some of the ones that aren't as common maybe, that can be helpful. And guys, I'm all about mental health because I'm a mental health therapist. And so, part of this is to remind you guys to let go of perfect and just to kind of, enjoy your process. Enjoy the process. So I've got some stems. Anyway, look out for more information on that. If you are not on my newsletter, please sign up. I will have that listed below once this is a replay so that you guys don't miss out on updates. I do send things that help to encourage mental health, or videos or freebies, or if I have a promotion of some kind. Alrighty, we've got a more dark purple now. And why did I grab this? I've been using this. Come on, Tammy. Let's go. So we're gonna do some petal shapes, just a little bit, really light. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just adding those in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because they do have 4 petals. I was painting hydrangea this week, like I showed you. They have 4 petals. What else was I painting? Delphinium. Well, is that 4 petals? Not necessarily. There was something else that I painted that had 4 petals. That's kind of this same type of, clumpy flower. Clumpy flower. Yeah, that's it. Clumpy flower. Anyways, let me know, and you do the replay, if you're watching the replay, if you're painting with me, what's the pace like for you, if you have any ideas on what you'd like to see me paint in the future, all those fun things. And we are trying to make these guys look so fun by adding in those flower shapes over the top of these loose petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can do some like side facing ones too. These are clumped together, right? So you're not gonna see as many details, but we're just adding in a few here and there. I'm gonna adjust my screen here, my shade, because the sun still thinks it can creep in, and I'm saying no, not today. Not today. I'm sweating already. Adding in some pink over here. Now, if you don't want to do these details, you don't have to do them. You could just have little blobs. Like this one here, it's just a bunch of blobs. And then I added in some darker once it was dry, which was quite satisfying to paint, I'll be honest with you. A little more saturated purple. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do 3 petals. But yeah, painting for your mental health. And it's hard to take time. It's hard to make time when you're so busy. But if you have a space set up in your home, I know not everyone likes to hear that, like, that doesn't work for them. Well, for me, I hardly painted, and I didn't have a space set up in my home, and I needed that encouragement. Because just taking out a box of supplies, and if that's all you have, that's totally fine. And I started off that way too. But I needed more. I had this like cheap folding table, and I had all my stuff on there. And because things were out, I sat down and I painted much more often, which I needed, for my mental health, for my self-care. At the time I was homeschooling my children, and there was just a lot of time at home, which was beautiful. And then I needed time for myself. And that's just the reality of it. We all need to take space for ourselves. So the big thing is, once you are, creating something that you feel is satisfactory, you get dopamine. You're like, oh, I love how this turned out. But what if you shifted the mindset and it wasn't about, well, I love that this turned out well, so now I'm happy. What if it was, I love that I'm sitting down and I am painting right now, and I am learning right now, and I am growing right now, and it doesn't matter how it turns out, because I can always throw it in the trash and start over. I can always flip it over like I do, you know, and paint on the other side. That is what I want for you. I want that shift. And people always say, well, it's the joy in the journey, right? Well, what does that mean? What it means is that you're happy to sit down and just learn something new. If you're struggling with something, you know, get a tutorial and learn how to do it. And you got to tell yourself, hey, this is fun. Sometimes you got to tell yourself, I'm having a good time, because your brain wants to come in and say, I don't like that. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look like theirs. Theirs looks better. And you make this whole comparison thing, which is gross. It's like, brain, you got to stop. So I know you don't want to do it on purpose. It happens. So how can we kind of, you know, overcome that and experience, you know, a better time? It's just really, it's tough, but it's about, you know, learning how to start thinking differently about it. I'm gonna put in some more petals here. I do want to add in some leaves, so maybe, you know, we'll leave some space for that. Just lighter ones, kind of the bottom, or maybe at the top. I just like to have a lot of values, a lot of different values. Just like so. So how's your painting coming along? You know, let me know in the comments what that was like for you. I do want to let you guys know, remind you that I am on Patreon, and as I said in the beginning, what was it? One of these. This was the exclusive tutorial starting at $3 a month, but you know, there's different tiers and different benefits you can get. So that was shared this morning, actually. We want to save some space to do some of the centers, or save some time to do that. The centers on the ones I'm looking at are yellow, but we can make them any color you want. So there's that. Grabbing my number 8. I'm gonna add in some leaves, I think. And yes, add in some leaves. Let's see, I'm gonna do one right here. It's a little stem, and then I'm just gonna go out like this. Kind of large, they're pretty big. Right there. Grab some more paint. Another leaf right here. And nice green gold. Can do one over here. You know, and you don't have to match what the leaves look like in real life, okay? You can just use your creativity, use your imagination. You could do pink leaves if you wanted, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know? That's what's great about just being creative and having fun. So anyway, a lot of blabbing. That's what I do. And I'm gonna put some leaves just in here. Just kind of dabbing them in underneath. Put a little bit of filling in that space right there. And now that I have that in, kind of I know where that's gonna go, I'm gonna go back into Filbert. Hello. Bring Miss Filbert back. And we're just going to put in a few more little marks. Just like so. Maybe some darker ones too. And you work as quickly as you want. If you work slower than me, you can pause the video. It's quite a long video. You know, and just play around with placement and all that stuff. So I do want this one to go out a little bit further, so that we kind of, you know, whether it's connected to here or to here, you know, just a little bit. Always looking for that balance. So we're hanging out a lot over here. It's pretty heavy, and that's fine. I'm gonna grab some more of this purple to create some splatter. I'm gonna do splatter, but I'm gonna do a little bit more of a heavier splatter just up here to create that balance. And I don't know what that is on the paper here, something, but you can take some water and try to, with a paper towel, you can try to lift it. And if it doesn't, it's fine. And I added in some more here. So remember, it's practice, practice. A little bit more splatter up here. And I'm gonna add in some green also. And then we didn't do the centers. So clean damp brush, grabbing a pretty thick mixture, a little bit more water, of my dark color, which is the Payne's Gray. I don't have black on my palette. I'm just gonna do a little bit like this in the middle, or wherever you wanna say the middles are. Yes, you can make black centers or dark centers when they're supposed to be yellow. Yes, you can do what you want because it's your art, right? Don't let anyone tell you differently. And I know I was saying something, right? I don't have black on my palette because I just like having the diversity that Payne's Gray gives me, because it is what I would say a navy-ish color. It's a gray, but it's got a lot of blue in it. And so then I can have that dark blue color, or I can make it a lighter blue if I add lots of water, or I can pretend it's the black. And, you know, so that works for me. I just feel like it's more dynamic, more interesting than just that black color. And I could add in this plus brown and create some variations of darks. So yeah. All right, so there are the girls. Now if you'd like to add in some more pizzazz for your leaves, you are more than welcome to do that. I'm just kind of going around observing where else I could add some centers. I do want to add a little bit of something there because I feel like that just looks weird. It's just like the stem. I don't like that. I don't like that. You know what I can do actually is add in a little bit more stem off of that. Kind of like so. And then I could just go back in with that purple. And you know, you blob in, just like we did with the greens, just blob in some greens to make it look like it has, you know, in between everything, make it look like it has more leaves. Well, you can do that with your purples and your flowers as well. So a little bit more darker, just kind of, I like to use the word blobbing it, dabbing it on. And then this is pretty concentrated green, and then you can just do some line details too. I like the variation. And not everyone is going to get line details. And then I do want to add, what do I want to do? More dark green. I do want to actually make the bottom brown, like this nice kind of wood stemmy part, which is actually what my reference photo looks like. So just adding that in too. And you can see I do kind of sketchy lines. So I don't always quite go over it exactly. And you know, just the sketchy lines, you don't have to commit to something strong. You just kind of like little lines at a time, and that's good. All right, so we painted 2 things today. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been so fun just kind of chatting. There we go. Chatting and talking about things and processing mental health and trying to figure out how to do things to increase and boost our mood. Now, I am a mental health therapist and I do therapy, and this is not therapy. You know, let's not get that confused. And therapy has its place and time, but this is art and it can be therapeutic. It can have a role to help you to feel better. And so those are the differences, but it's a very powerful role and a very helpful role of helping you just feel good about yourself again, and you know, finding ways to relax and de-stress and all the things. We're just gonna take the camera like this and just kind of go over it, all the stuff that we painted today. we're gonna do the unprofessional way like I did. Like I said, I don't have StreamYard, so one day I'll get it and I'll be able to flip the camera in a professional way. But for now, I am just so glad that you were here. I hope you enjoyed this time chatting. And I want to ask you to make the commitment, if you're excited about it, make the commitment to sit down, create something with your own hands whenever you're feeling like you need that boost, but make it a habit so that you can keep going through life with this self-care that really boosts your well-being. It boosts your sense of yourself, and learning something, creating something with your hands. I don't think that there's anything else. I don't know. There are other things you can do, but it's one of the things that's very powerful that helps you to just kind of get out of the funk and do something else and feel so much better for just a small moment of time. So try to find a practice, set up a space, and enjoy. And that's it, guys. I will see you guys soon on the next tutorial, and bye.